Okay, so this video I'm going to talk about some quick thoughts I've been thinking about the myth of humane killing in regards to meat and animal agriculture. So, in my job, I am forced to, if I want to keep my job, to come into contact with a lot of animal products, and I have found it is so easy, especially in the society that we've constructed, to become extremely disconnected from what is there. And when I look at meat, I don't see food. I see I see dead flesh. That is what it is. Like, it's so it's so easy, just sausage. Oh, a hot dog. It's just food, a burger. When really this was a living, breathing, emotional, sentient animal or being with a life that was taken away without its permission. It makes me really upset. And so this idea of humanely killing something makes me question how those two words could even be related to each other. If you go in a slaughterhouse, how is killing ethical? You watch anything, you watch, you know, you know what made me, it was a BuzzFeed video where they kill their own meat. And it seems nice, everything's good, it's a little farm, it's humane, but the act of taking life away itself, you could tell, was not morally right. And anyway, so there's three scenarios I've kind of came up with. I watched a video and I think that they describe them like this, but this is what makes sense in my head. I think it might be the same thing. I'll try to leave the video in the description below. So we have three scenarios. Each has three sections. So the first section is the living, the second is the killing, and the third is the act of taking life away. Okay, so in a utopian world, because this is often not the case of humane meat animal farms, you can just Google it, YouTube it, watch videos, and educate yourself, and you can see there's hundreds of cases of these supposedly humane farms that are blatantly not ethical in any way. So, but in this, for the sake of this example, in our utopian little world here, the animals have a very happy life, cage-free, roaming around, loving life, whatever. That's awesome. Okay, so the humane way of killing an animal, a lot like the main practice, especially for cows and pigs, is with a bolt gun, which like bolts them in the middle of the head that directly kills them instantly and painlessly, supposedly. In this utopian world, if that worked every single time, which it doesn't. But for this example, it does. So, happy life, the bolt gun works, it kills them, there's no pain involved. But then the act of taking that life away, this is something that we have to think like kind of deeply about. The act of taking life away when that life was being enjoyed and didn't want it to be taken away. Animals don't want their life to be taken away. No one wants their life to be taken away. So the act of taking that life away, even if it was done quickly and painlessly, in itself makes this whole thing not humane. I often relate it back to like a human experience, and people say you can't do that. There's so many differences between animals and humans, and there is, but at the most fundamental level, we all have the ability to suffer in very, like, extremely similar ways. So I know this might seem extreme, but keep an open mind, because this idea of we all suffer in the same ways is true for living, like, almost all living beings, especially the ones that we're killing for food. So we have a person, they're treated awesome their whole life by, like, I don't know, like their partner or whatever. But then one day they are killed painlessly. It's painless and used to eat. I know this seems very dark and twisted, but that's what we do with animals. And once again, we all feel suffering in very, very similar ways. So, happy life, we killed them, but the act of taking that life away, even if it was done painfully, makes that unethical. You talk about that with humans, and everyone's like, what? That's murder. It's sad, and it's hard for people to be okay with relating that back to animals and saying, like, kind of putting that we're all equal thing, because when you're eating and consuming dead flesh, you are not promoting being equal with all living beings, you know? Okay, so that first scenario, taking life away, is a paradox for killing something painlessly and saying it's humane. It's not. Okay, second situation, so in our utopian world, animals live a happy life. But in many cases, this happens that the bolt gun misses, the animal is freaking out, it can sense what's going to happen, or whatever the case may be, the bolt gun misses, the animal is suffering, and it's drawn out while they're being killed and while they're dying. So it stops there. That isn't humane anymore. And then still we have that life being taken away, but now they were killed and it was even more painful and full of suffering, so that's not humane either. So that's our second scenario. The third scenario is this animal has a life full of suffering, full of pain, a very, very hard, bad life that it obviously doesn't want and is being forced into, especially for what I'm talking about, animal agriculture. Suffering, doesn't want to be there, very sad, full of pain. So in some way you can think that taking that life away is actually helping the animal, because living was harder in some sense than just taking that life away, because the life was so full of pain. Now, the act of taking life away, once again, isn't ethical, but in this weird sense we're saying, okay, it could be because their life was so full of suffering. But if how do I talk about this? So, like, okay, their life is full of suffering, they kill them painlessly or not, whatever, and then we're doing them a favor in some weird way by taking away their life. But their life was full of suffering. So that in itself makes the whole process not humane anymore. Especially when their life doesn't have to be full of suffering. We don't have to be consuming animal products. This whole conversation switches when we educate ourselves and realize, this is when connections are made, when we realize that humans do not need animal products to survive. This isn't an excuse that we can, like, cling on to as a reason to continue partaking in these habits of ours. We don't need it to survive, therefore killing animals for food is unnecessary in the common ways that we do, especially in our Western world, by getting up, going to the grocery store, seeing a can of beans and bacon or whatever. We are consciously choosing to buy the bacon, or we are consciously choosing to buy the beans, which made an animal die when it didn't have to be bacon. And then other people say, oh, plants have feelings. Plants don't have central nervous systems to experience pain. Especially, you cut a carrot, it does not respond the same way if you cut a pig open. I know this is, like, kind of like I'm, like, getting with you, but when it's animal agriculture is taking such a toll on our earth too, there's so many reasons not to eat animal products. And I just want people to really look within themselves, educate yourself, watch documentaries, you really question things, and then come back to that compassion within yourself and allow animals within that circle. We have to, like, look at ourselves as beings that are equal, not above other beings on this planet. So, yes. So thank you for watching this video if you did. Our world is a beautiful, fricked up place, and you have the capacity to make a change. Align your morals and ethics with your actions. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. This is a long video.